Hey, it's me once again, Billy D, and thanks for joining me on Billy D Radio. As this is one of the initial podcasts, you can see the effect going up over my head, implying that I'm dizzy. Got a little bit of a glow on. It is Saturday night here in Portland, Maine. So, welcome one and all to joining me this evening, as it's a little bit of an editorial and perhaps even more of a informatorial. Um, but I don't have any more tutorials to throw at you to try to make that rhyme and flow. But let's talk about politics. As you can see, the blue color over my head, I tend to vote blue. I'm an independent. As of 2020, I've been an independent. But I've always voted democratically, with the exception of maybe a couple of Maine senators, namely that don't serve the state anymore. No need to, bring up names. No need to get specific, but I will get specific about certain issues, including Obamacare. Um, and there's certainly lots of things missing from it. Um, there's companies that will go ahead and set you up and bill you and get things underway, especially when you enroll super early and you're all approved for a plan through a big insurance company, and then all of a sudden you get a bill for a recent visit, and then you get um, uh, you have no insurance. You check online, it's like it's not there. So now you only have Medicaid, even though you already are approved for a plan on the main website that sets this up. CoverMe.gov. We'll get specific on that, but it says I'm all set on CoverMe.gov, but I don't have a member ID. In a stack of paperwork yet to be processed. So far, it's been 120 hours since I talked to Anthem. All they sent me is a "we're working on it" thing. Right now, if I get hurt, or if I get into a car accident and I get another injury because I already got one, and I'm being billed for those visits when I was covered, so I don't even know what's going on. But um, it is so bureaucratically wrong, and I can totally understand why people don't like the Affordable Care Act, because it's I feel very it's very unsettling. I feel like I'm not. I mean, right now I don't have insurance, but yet I've been approved. I did everything I was supposed to do in a timely fashion, actually ahead of time, and now I'm being put through the ringer, and in a very unsafe situation. Not being insured. Technically, I'm not. I don't have a member ID. That's my cat throwing up in the background, so don't mind that. I'm not going to stop the broadcast. Um, she's okay. Don't worry about it. She's good. Yeah, Bella Marie, she's strong. It's a good cat. It's guiding light. But anyway, there it goes again. Not to take our eye off the ball here, but I just want to say that I've seen the video of people that have had people die because they weren't able to get the coverage in time, and there was a bureaucratic blockade and on the administrative level in the private sector, or whatever you want to call it, that the I's didn't get dotted, the T's didn't get crossed, and it's not active, and you don't have a member ID, even though that you already you've been for 3-4 years. This is your fourth year on the plan, and it's just you're not a different plan now, but on the Affordable Care Act, so which is a law, and this is horrible. I feel horrible. I feel totally unsafe. Naked without health insurance, and luckily my medications, the prices aren't affected by it because they go through just a different channel. Then I don't have them. I don't go through the programs of my insurance just in case this happens. And it's not the first time for me, but I mean it is really tough being in this predicament. I don't even wish it on people I don't like. There's a few minutes that are dedicated to the repeal and replace option, which I think, I just think if they can set it up right and Bobby Kennedy can get it right and everything's where it needs to be and it's efficient, and it runs on time and there's no like holes in it. Um, and it's not, all the companies have gotten used to going along with it, so I don't think it would be that hard. I just think it would takes RFK Jr. probably to put this thing together. I don't think anybody else will be able to. Republicans certainly don't get health care. It's not something that they do. Neither do they support the unions. So, I mean, the Democratic Party totally lost its ties with the working class. I mean, I don't think you can get any clearer than the union being at the Republican National Convention. You can't get any clearer than that. You Democrats have to stop denying it. Even on The View, when the subject came up, working class, they just skip right through it. They don't care. People don't care about the people that work at McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and the most honorable people in our society, the people that serve you, you, the upper class, the people that do the dirty work and clean up after your messes, and this thing with the insurance is just, to me, this insurance company doesn't want to do it, but yet they're probably by law have to do it, and the process shows that, and they're putting me through hell, really. I mean, it could be, because it's so bad, and it just represents, the rich right there. Even though the Republican Party is for the rich, I mean, the working class is who voted him in. I mean, 80% of our country didn't go to college, and it's like that percentage or close. That I think it's a higher number that only has less than $1,000 in their accounts, at this time. And yet we're being attacked on Facebook by people posing as, people like Elon Musk. I got a present for you. And then it's like, hey, invest in my company. It's like, no, I'm a working class person, and I don't, what does investment mean to me? The only investments I have are my bills. Those are my investments. And, I'm sorry, but I didn't grow up in a family that got rich off investing. In fact, the opposite. So, and I'm not going to get into that because it's, it's privileged information when it comes to my family or people I know. It's privileged information. Just because I tell you something, in confidence, and you open the door to questioning that is personal, and then you go ahead and you stab me in the back, and repeat what I said, and then I'll get blamed for it because I shouldn't have said anything anyway to somebody that knows somebody I know. I mean, a bunch of bullshit. Just keep your mouth shut. Just keep your mouth shut. All right, Democrats, keep your mouth shut. Get in line, because you've been outvoted. Nobody wants to change the culture they grew up in. They're happy with it. I don't get the pronouns. I get it, but, I think that respect across the board is what we need. If you apply respect to all these groups of people, all people, and it's easier said than done, and I know that it's easier said than done, but if you can apply that across the board, everybody feels safe. Everybody feels protected, not under threat, and, if they feel respected, if people feel respected. And that goes for, whatever your, sexual preferences or identity preferences. I have a very liberal mind. I have a huge imagination, and I'm a radical when it comes to imagining what laws work and what laws don't. I love having conversations like that, and you need to be able to have conversations. I went to Fox right away. As soon as the election was lost, I went right to Fox. That's what I did. I didn't go lick my wounds and go cry with a bunch of, people that were crying. I went and was like, all right, give it to me. I want to understand where you guys are coming from, because I don't. I didn't understand. How could you vote for Trump? How could you vote for him? And then, when I got it, when you understand the pain and frustration that the overall country is feeling, it's once you understand that, it's unavoidable to, go back into thinking that, things are okay now, because they're not. All right. Now, I've been told that, I'm brainwashed. That's what I've been told. My friends, long-term friends, have told me I'm brainwashed because, I'm interested in facts about the border. I'm interested in learning about it. I want figures on what they're talking about in terms of how many is too many, for people coming through. How many can be processed at one time? And then when you find out that there are all these kids that are lost and in the process, and they don't even know where these kids are. They're being used in sex trafficking, and they get murdered and raped. All these horrible crimes that are being created is because the border is not protected. There's really no downside to a protected border. That means it's going to take longer. Yes, if you're coming into a country and, we're going to sponsor you and set you up with housing and get you going for a few years, then you owe it to us, okay, to expect that it's going to take some time, if not years. Especially with the fact that, I'm sorry, but I believe the numbers. I mean, they're coming from the border, okay? And MSNBC, CNN, they don't cover the border, all right? Fox covers the border, okay? Dr. Phil goes to the border, okay? I will take Dr. Phil over Oprah any day, because, Oprah is just interested in getting paid. That's all. I'm not interested in the elite anymore. No, I don't care how you vote. I'm not interested in your lifestyle at all. I just appreciate the art. I love art. I love movies. I love classic movies, especially from the 80s and the 70s cinema. Yeah, I love all that stuff. 90s Pulp Fiction, it's just always some good stuff here and there. I enjoy it a lot more than I enjoy music in a lot of cases, but a lot of good music comes from movie soundtracks. So not to get off track, but back to the Democrats and the Republicans, and both sides. I'm found that I'm able to talk to Republicans more because a lot of them are independents at heart, and they just want what is best for the country in most cases. But you can't mention the border without like this whole thing that I just said could be said racist. Listen, no, it's about resources, and it's about, all this happened during the pandemic. It's just open. The catch and release is a bad idea. It's the worst policy ever. And it ruins his presidency, really. It ruins it. Just the way that Vietnam, I'm sorry, but this is a full-scale invasion. There's too many people not to think it's not, and I think that China is behind it. I think it's those powerful countries on that side of the globe who control the food supply that are not supplying these areas of the world with food. So, and they're being paid in some cases to come over. There is a deal. There is an angle to this. It's not just happening just 'cause. Okay, and yeah, it's going to happen. Obama, I think, averaged 500,000 a year. That's fine. But not in the millions. That's too many. Ultimately, our public resources crash and crumble, and we have to set up new laws, and there are no laws that if they commit crimes that they even go to jail at, they come right back out. What is that? How is that safe for society? Especially when there's a lot of criminals that have come through because of catch and release. It just, they overwhelm the border, they slide right through. And that includes drugs and everything else. So it's not a good thing. It's not a safe thing, and it has nothing to do with race. If it was Australia or Russia that would say if it was all Russians that were coming over, right, leaving the country, coming over here, we couldn't take them in by the millions. We could take them in by the hundreds of thousands per year, but not millions, because even hundreds of thousands is a lot for our systems. We're paying more in taxes is what it means. We're paying for the new, all this aid in our taxes. Our taxes are too high anyway for the working class, and they went up. We're in a housing crisis, and taxes went up. We're in inflation. It's great. And the prices went up in taxes. And they're up, and it's just horrible for the American, person. It's not a good thing. It's not a healthy thing for the country, and it is too much of an impact in terms of culturally. I'm sorry, but no. We speak English in America, all right. So all this French speaking, what is this, Canada? Seriously, and it's only certain parts of Canada too. Just Montreal, Quebec are the only really French parts of Canada. What are we? Is that what we are now? I don't know French, and I don't want to know French, and I don't think much of the French. to be honest with you. So I don't really, just get that out of my face. I'd rather learn Spanish. That has, if there's a second language that we should have to learn, it is Latino. Yes, that's the one, not French. All right, not French. French would be third, but it would just be for Canada, not for immigrants. You know what I mean? You come over and you want to change our culture around, and you want to change. Like I can't. When I go to mass now, it's like it's all different. They all set it up all different, and I looked up why, and it's to appeal on a more international level with other groups and this and that. And you know what that means. It means that they came over and changed it, and ever since Obama, we just caved to this nonsense. We should not relent. You come over here, and especially if we're sponsoring you, you adapt to us. You adapt to us. It's as simple as that. And we welcome you with one open arms. We can't take in this many at one time unless we get more help on the border. We need a wall. We do need a wall. Build that wall. Yes, blue, I'm democratically inclined. Build a wall. We need a wall, we need more people at the border, one or the other, and we're certainly going to get them come the 21st. We're going to get that, and that's what we need, and that's why he won. And Democrats, you need to understand that that's why it happened. You lost because you completely betrayed the roots of the party. You deserve to lose. This was deservedly lost. It's not like, oh, boo-hoo. You deserve to lose this. You pick, the Democratic Party picks the candidate. The voters can't even pick who they want to run. I mean, the last 3 elections have been total shams. We haven't had a good election since Obama, in my opinion. Not on the Democratic side. Party can't agree. You got this middle of the road stuff with Pelosi and Clinton. Then you got, the extreme. But let me tell you something. Bernie and Cory Booker, they said no to catch and release. Well, that wasn't catch and release. It was the last thing, number 21 that came up over there that said no. And what you do is you go back to the drawing table and you install something temporarily with executive order to at least put the proper security in place or the best you can do, and then you go back to the drawing board. That's what you do. You don't get all insulted and think poorly of the other side when you're not doing a good enough job. You're spending too much time being distracted by all the millions you get, being a millionaire, being a senator. You're a millionaire. You're not even worth your wage. You're worth millions, hundreds of millions. Maybe in some cases billions probably that we don't know about, or we do. I mean, look at the Biden crime family. What does that say? I mean, it's okay. Criminals are the ones that get elected, right? Now, anyway. Well, what's 32 counts? I mean, now it's just obliterated, but what is that? I mean, does that make you a criminal or doesn't it make you a criminal? And the Stormy Daniels thing, I don't think that's relevant, but what about the other stuff? I mean, he's silencing witnesses. I mean, that says everything. I mean, you have money, you get away with it, especially him. That's how our country runs. That's how our capitalist society runs. So let's stop pretending like that's not the way it goes. Money equals power, equals prestige, and it's all about who you know, and those are simple facts. And the more money you have, the more that, obviously, Puffy, Bill Cosby, all that. I mean, if you're going to be a pervert about it, Weinstein, yeah, they'll get you. But otherwise, if you're not committing crimes against humanity, I don't know. It's. I just feel powerless right now. I don't even, waiting for it. It's, we should have a civil war. We should. But here's the thing. They divide us by political parties. Democrats, Republicans, they get us to fight. They control us with all this propaganda and stuff, or they go too heavy on the news to get an emotional attachment to it. Listen, we all have the same problems. We're living under the same flag, and we need to work together. The people, Democrats and Republicans, would have to come together and fight, and basically the poor fighting the rich against the poor. That would be the Civil War, not the North against the South again, like the politically inclined, because that really what the issue is the rich versus the poor. Really, I know there's some good rich people, but they don't do enough. They don't do enough. No, I mean that disgusting Oprah Winfrey, paid for by the millions or multi-millions from the Kamala Harris campaign. That's just disgusting, and I just hate J Lo. I'm not vote for. It's like vote for J Lo, vote for Jennifer Aniston, vote for George Clooney. Vote for the elite. They're the ones that are paying for the party now. Vote for them. Yay. No, you notice the male versus female culture. I mean, all the celebrities that came out for the Republicans are like mostly men. I mean, the celebrities anyway. That Kurt Russell. Dennis Quaid and Gene Simmons. I mean, they're pretty. Really, it's like all the celebrities, with the exception of Chris Rock, were all women, and it felt like a women's moment, and making it all about that. It's the angle of the campaign, but you left the working class behind, and you left the men behind. You left the men behind. That's why you lost the man votes, is because, and one woman said, well, I've felt suppressed, and now it's not time for us to feel suppressed, like you're telling us to feel suppressed and just let you take. No, we're not going to let you take it. You have to earn it. All right. If, woman wants to be president, great. I don't think it's going to happen because we need a man in office for the Middle East, and all the, Russia and China and, to deal with those boys, you got to be tough. And like Trump, he's tough. Reagan was tough. George Bush was not tough. The Bushes aren't tough. Sorry, but they're not. He was the worst president of all time, George W. Bush. He really hurt the country. I mean, it's unbelievably. I mean, it was horrible. And Trump mentioned that. Even though he got booed, he's just like, hey, it was happening on his watch. Dick Cheney, I mean, the guy's got billions over there. It's like they're fighting for each other's money. I mean, that's really what it's all about. That's what this war is all about. It's about money. Absolutely. More so than credibility in some cases. But, we're going to continue to fight the civil wars. That's all we've been doing. For the last 80 years is fighting civil wars. That's all we've been doing militarily. That's it. That's the only action that there's been, is fighting other people's wars, and it's a big mistake. It's a big mistake. It just depletes us. We're in trillions of dollars of debt, and we've been like $5 trillion in debt per president the last 2 terms. So, I mean, we're just diving in there. And the Democrats have the history of being more like warmongers, actually. Yeah. We're much weaker with a Democrat in office than we are with a Republican in office, it seems, with the exception of George W. Bush. Then we're really good. We're in good shape with Trump, I think, because you got to be able to go out and hang out with those guys and rub shoulders with them. You can't just be like a little bitch and just dictate from abroad. It just doesn't work. That's not working with people. You got to work with these guys. You got to hang with them, and they got to be able to relate to you. And aside from Tulsi Gabbard, possibly, I think that she's the first woman I've seen that could lead the country. I think the woman that leads the country should be about, she should be decorated militarily. She has to appear to be tough, like a G.I. Jane type. She has to she has to be a rock star. She has to get our vote, not just be entitled to it, just like Kamala was entitled to the nomination, and like Hillary was entitled to the nomination. And that Joe Biden was just propped up for the nomination. No, it has to be real. It has to be grassroots, just like the Trump movement. It has to be like that. And we had it in Bernie, but it was silenced. He was the one. He was the one that was going to, get in the White House, and who knows what he would have been able to do, but he represented a lot of, ideals. But I even got into a fight once because when it came to that election, and I wanted Bernie, and she wanted Biden, and it was an open forum on Facebook group or whatever, group discussions, and she's like, "Well, I like my insurance," and basically telling me that my insurance doesn't matter, and that screw me, and it's all about her insurance, and that's why what she's voting for is to keep her insurance, and that's why she's voting for Biden. I mean, there's idiots both sides. There's idiots both sides. You can guarantee that. All right. So it doesn't matter, if you're Democrat or Republican. It's how much money you got in your pocket, really, is what we're talking about. And like I said, the unions are with the Repubs now. So the party's changing. It's becoming the people's party. I mean, why not get on board? The more idealists that are in the group that come on board, the more, the more socially moderate or acceptable or transparent things will be, to balance out the equation. And that's what happens every 100 years or so. As Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Today he would be a Democrat. Back when they used to smoke weed, the Prez. So, just like Billy D. Now, I think we're going to wrap things about up, but I think I got things clear the air a bit. Sorry for my cat puking earlier. She's fine now, like I said. It's like I said, Obamacare needs to be repealed and replaced, and it's like I said, we don't need to fight civil wars, and that's all we've been doing for the last 80 years, and that's all that we got scheduled to do. We have to stop that, and Ukraine is a part, is that. It is. We are being played here by the UN, and we are just being schooled, y'all. That's what's happening right now. We're being schooled, and that includes all the, the third world immigration, migration, invade our nation, stuff that's been going on for the last 4 years with open borders. That's where they're getting us there. And then they're depleting us militarily and financially in other areas. It's a strategy. It has to be. There's so much hate for the U.S. Are you kidding me? I mean, and foreigners know that things are run through the government. I mean, assassination. I'm just saying, and all this stuff that's what they do in politics. That's what they do. But that's what we're doing. We're just hurting ourselves by doing this, because it involves us and puts us in a negative light with the Soviets. Anything that does that, and they're taking total advantage of us. Yes, war is terrible, but it didn't have to be this way. They could have just surrendered. And guess what? They've only been free since '91. As far as I'm concerned, they never were free. They had a pass. That was it. That was it. And you're right there. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing we can do. You are outnumbered, and you're just wasting the world's resources right now, and you're being selfish. And it wouldn't have been bad if you would have just gone ahead with it, and it wouldn't, and the violence wouldn't have escalated. You had no choice. That's just the way that goes. You had no choice. And again, we can't fight for these little countries. We can't. They're in civil wars, and that's their problem, and it's unfortunate. But we can't protect the rest of the world. We really can't from evil dictators. We just have to protect ourselves. And you're welcome to come over. And it's probably gonna, it'll take a few years to get it going, and that's just it. You weren't born here, so it's going to be a process. And the more people we get working at the border, and in that administrative. The more resources we put into it, the less time it'll take, the more efficient it will be. And I know that there's holes in that. Or no, I don't think there's holes in that. It's just a long time frame, and that will only get better in time. So we are almost out of time. It's been about a full half hour. This is Billy D signing off to you and yours. And you can check me out on Billy D Radio. I've made a bunch of music compilations, and I've ranted and raved on a number of occasions. I don't know how long I'm going to keep this video up, but feel free to share your ideas. Like I said, Democrats, Republicans have to be talking. to work stuff out. Stuff doesn't get talked unless it's on the table. You got to sit at the table. You got to reach across the aisle. It's just the way it goes. That's your job. Do it. Be a professional and do what's right for the country. That's all I have to say for here and now. Billy D signing off. Sayonara until the next time. BillyDRadio@gmail.com. And you can catch Billy D Radio. Just type me in on YouTube.com. We'll see you later.